Hi guys, it is Friday, June the 21st, 22nd, I'm not sure, late June anyway. Time for another garden update, so let's get started. Alright, here we have my tomato plant, my Better Boy tomato plant that's underneath this TP thing, this spun bonded polyester thing that I put up to prevent blight, and it's doing a pretty good job so far. I've had a few yellow leaves on it, but not many, and it's just, you can see how large this thing is getting here. It's just gonna be a massive plant if it doesn't blight. And right here is my best looking cluster of tomatoes on this thing here so far, and as you can see, I mean, it's really looking nice and healthy here. It's about, I don't know, 2.5 foot tall. It's close to 3 foot tall right now. Anyway, it's looking very good. And right out here, I decided that I just had too much bare space out here. And well, plus, okay, this is some green beans, a variety called Volunteer Half Runners. And really what mainly prompted me to go ahead and plant them was there's just a whole lot less Mexican bean beetles that's shown up here this year for some reason, like maybe 1/10 as many as usual. So, and that's my biggest problem on planting green beans, is combating those silly Mexican bean beetles. And these are some just beautiful plants here. I've always had troubles with my beans yellowing, but so far these are looking really good. And I don't know, I may thin them a little bit more. I may just let them go like they are. It seems like I always have a little better luck whenever I plant them fairly thick. Okay, the story on these is, as I've stated, these are Volunteer Half Runners. Traditionally, I plant Mountain Half Runners. So I go to get my Mountain Half Runner seed like I always do, and nobody in town has Mountain Half Runner seed. One person has these Volunteer Half Runner seed. So I go ahead and buy a few of the Volunteer Half Runner seed, and I order some Mountain Half Runner seed, which I plant right down on the other side of this teepee. So let's go take a look at this. And now these were planted a week later, but still, although, you know, that's a fairly healthy looking one there, but still they don't come up nearly as vigorously. And they had a whole lot more little rump plants and yellow looking plants, you know, a whole lot more that just look like that when they come up, let's say, just unhealthy looking plants. So, and you can see there's a little yellow here, but we'll do a comparison, taste comparison, and comparison on how well they ultimately grow. I thought about just yanking these up and putting the Volunteer Half Runners here, but probably we'll leave these in and compare them against these Volunteer Half Runners. It's going to be tough to beat them, I think, unless for some reason these just don't taste good, because these are just, I mean, the best looking beans I've ever planted. A lot of people will plant Blue Lakes and stuff like that, which, you know, is a vigorous grower and all, but they taste like cardboard. To me, they do anyway, compared to these Half Runners. And another thing on these Mountain Half Runner, or these Volunteer Half Runners, when you look them up on the internet, you'll find people bragging about how few flat beans that they produce. The Mountain Half Runner beans, sometimes 1/3 of your crop will be these real flat tough beans, and you have to throw those away. So if you're throwing 1/3 of your crop away, sometimes even half, it's just not good. So, and these are supposed to be a little bit short. The downside is they'll be a little bit shorter bean, but oh man, look at that. I mean, I'm just not used to having bean plants that look quite that healthy. And so the bean situation looks good. And so far, blight-wise, this Better Boy tomato here is looking tremendous. I did do what Praxis always does, which, you know, another YouTube user, garden guy, which is these branches that are low to the ground and hugging the ground. I just buried the stem of it where that'll produce additional roots there. I don't know if I'll just let these go along on the ground or if I'll try to stake these in some form or fashion, but this is just one plant. See, from end to end, this is about 6 foot, and I would keep training it to this trellis thing here and letting it get out like really wide, and which it would do. It would go all the way to that post, I'm sure, the way it's growing, but I don't want it to get too close to the edge of my protection here, my blight protection. I think what happens here, it's foggy. Every morning the fog just hangs thick. And just in this little area, not in this whole part of the country, but we're between two small creeks, and I think that has something to do with it. The fog just lays in here on them and causes them to blight. Okay, moving on. The peppers are looking just outstanding. Here we go. We got the red bell peppers and the yellow bell peppers, and then some jalapenos, and these are the hot bananas. That's just about a full size one, but it'll still be another 3 weeks or so before it's edible, because they taste really, really green to start with if you eat them too soon. The red bells has just got tiny little bells. I won't bother showing that. And the jalapenos are just about this size, and really they're going to wind up being the tallest pepper in the bunch, because they've already just about topped out that cage there, which is a little less than 3 foot tall. And here the this one here was the biggest bell pepper, so you can see they're growing pretty good. This was right what they do. They have a tendency to form their first pepper. Wow, I cannot see. I hope I'm showing stuff right. They have a tendency to form their first pepper right in the crotch of the limbs here. And so there's like 3 limbs, and it gets so tight that you almost have to tear your plant up whenever you pick that first one. So I come in here and I try to offset it so it'll be easier to pick, and then when I tried to kind of offset it just a little bit, this one happened to break out of there. See, here's one right here. See this? You see this pepper here was originally like really tight down in here, and I managed to pull it out of there without the stem breaking. So, okay, moving on to a huge success story here. These are my squash. Straight neck, 4 straight neck squash right there in that group. And then these are just massive. And here is 4 butter dish squash, and it's even a little bit bigger. You can see it, and the cucumbers are starting to crowd into each other there. But we've not had any huge, what happens on the squash traditionally, here every year we have a massive thunderstorm. They'll always look like this if we don't have a thunderstorm, and eventually we get a big thunderstorm with like 30-40 mile-an-hour winds, and it just tears them all to smush. They still make squash for several weeks, but it just tears them all up where they don't look nearly this good. But wow, I have to back up like a long ways here to show these squash. And so let's look in here at our squash. And there's some rather large ones in here. I maybe needed to pick them yesterday, but just didn't get around to it. There is a nice squash. Now when the squash come in at first, I usually let them get just a little bit bigger than I do later on. All right, here, and here is, oh man, that's a good one there. Early on when the squash come in, I can let them get like really big, and they still are edible and tender and all. Later on, you don't want to let them get quite so big, but early on, it's just fine. All right, cucumbers are doing just fantabulous looking. They're not very big yet. So right now they're all just, there's a couple in here that's maybe 50% bigger than that, a little bit bigger than that. So anyway, lots of blooms in here anyway. All right, and these are my late plants. We have some late cucumbers right here. And then we have a few late squash right here. Now your late plants, for some reason they don't ever do as good as the early plants do, or the normal plants. I wouldn't exactly call them early. These were planted in mid-May, and these were planted just a couple of weeks ago, I guess. So, okay, that's about it from the garden front here. I will go up on the porch and show you that tomato, which is not really doing all that well blight-wise. Yeah, even I figure with no dirt splashing up on it from the ground, it would do fine, but no. And here is just an experimental tomato. I'm always doing blight experiments. I just put it in yesterday. And up in my rock garden, let me see, as you can see, this is a little bitty fella. Very late to be planting one, really. Up in my rock garden, I've started spraying compost tea on my rose bushes to prevent black spot on the rose bushes, and it seems like it's working out pretty good. And that's caused by fungus, and the blight is also caused by fungus. So I'm gonna be spraying some compost tea on this, and every couple of days even, and see how that works. I've always been just loath to spray a commercial fungicide on it, because those are, you know, I just don't do fungicides, pesticides, herbicides. I just don't. Sometimes I will do a little fertilizer instead of compost because I don't have enough compost, but I will not do fungicides, herbicides, pesticides. I just refuse to do it. I'll go eat the store-bought produce that's got fungicides and pesticides and with herbicides, which we all know that's what they're going to have on it. Okay, peeps, so yeah, that's it. Like I said, I will show the, wow, that's just too close. I will show the tomato on the porch. Bye, guys. What are you doing there, little girl? Huh? You needing some petting? Say, what's up, Carly? Hmm? Yeah? Look cute for the people. Look cute for the camera. Hmm? Yeah, how could you look anything but cute? Hmm? How could you look anything but cute? And right here is my first picking of squash, other than one squash that I picked yesterday. So, yeah. And as you can see, this tomato plant here on the porch has deteriorated significantly in the last 3 weeks. Just all sorts of blight down in there. I've got about a half a dozen tomatoes off of it. Looks like there's at least another, well, there's probably 20 tomatoes in here, and they'll mature and be good. Not quite as many as what I was hoping for, and really I was hoping this thing wouldn't blight up here on the porch, because I was planning on planting a couple of 3 tomatoes here on this thing. I got my hand over my camera because it's raining a little out here right now. Blight spores from the sky. All right, that's it.